I'd like to talk about acne from the perspective of German New Medicine, or GNM. In the GNM framework, acne as a symptom is one of the biological special programs or tissue adaptations that our body is running as a way to actually help us survive a difficult situation in our lives. In the case of acne, it is a program that's associated with the dermis, or the lower layer of our skin. And it's actually a protection program for times in which we feel attacked in some way, disfigured, unclean, dirty, or humiliated. So let me unpack what that means from the GNM perspective and how that impacts what's actually going on our skin. So with the acne program, this is coming in the framework of German New Medicine, in which a biological special program or a tissue adaptation is initiated by an event that impacts our psyche and then simultaneously our brain and a specific organ that's linked to that brain relay. This initiating event is called a conflict shock, and it means that this is an event that makes us feel isolated. It catches us off guard on the wrong foot and is kind of acute and distressing in the moment. It might be something even as small as looking at ourselves in the mirror and thinking, yuck, what's going on? Or scrolling on social media and seeing images of all these beautiful women with luminous, glowing skin who never seem to have any problems. When we have that initial conflict shock that catches us off guard, makes us feel isolated, in acne, the flavor of that conflict shock, the flavor that our psyche is picking up and interpreting it as, is feeling attacked, feeling humiliated, or feeling kind of soiled and dirty. When that conflict is active in us, our dermis in the skin responds by building a layer of new cells in that specific area. And what it's doing is it's building a shield to protect us. It's actually giving us thicker skin to help us go through that situation of feeling attacked or humiliated or disfigured. Once that specific situation has resolved and gone into healing, then that extra little shield of cells starts to break down with the help of bacteria. And that's where we get the pimple, the redness, the inflammation, the bump, the pus, the whiteness, all of the symptoms there. So the pimple is actually appearing in the healing phase. Now, what happens with acne is that oftentimes seeing the pimple in the mirror and feeling even more attacked or more disfigured, like, why does my face look like this, can actually trigger a new conflict shock and a new program so that we get another pimple on top of that first one in the next day or so, because we're continually looking at ourselves and thinking, ew, I look gross, and why is this happening to me? And I don't like the look of my face, and I feel like my body is attacking me right now. So if you think about women who are mature women, not teenagers anymore, and you think, well, why do we get adult acne? Yes, our hormones change at different times, but not all women experience this issue. So let's think about some of the reasons that women in their middle decades of their lives might be susceptible to acne as a program. Well, for one thing, we have so many different roles and responsibilities. We might still have kids at home that we're taking care of and running around all the time. We have pets, we have partners. We might be taking care of older parents at the same time. If we're in a career, then we have the busyness of a job, trying to be competent, trying to look good all the time, trying to perform well in the job. And if it's in a career we've been in for a while, these middle decades could be getting into that peak career phase with the most pressure, the most need to appear in a certain way, to give a sense of power. So it might be easy for us, and if our psyche interprets it that way, to feel vulnerable, to feel attacked, to feel humiliated. We also have this pressure in our society with the cult of youth that we need to look completely youthful at all times. We need to have no wrinkles on our faces. We need to not have gray hair. We need to maintain our appearance to this unrealistic degree as we're aging. So with all of these pressures on us, is it any wonder that for many women, we experience this conflict of feeling attacked about ourselves, about our appearance, feeling humiliated, feeling like we're dirty or unclean in some way if we're not living up to someone's standard of who we are, what we should be like, how we should look in our everyday lives. Now, this conflict doesn't have to be about appearance, but as I said before, the conflict tends to reinforce ourselves when we see a blemish on our face and then we feel attacked and disfigured because of it, and then more blemishes come afterwards. So a good place to start with this acne program is to chart when these breakouts occur, if they're occurring kind of continuously or if they ebb and flow. And when you see that there's a flare-up, kind of look and see what happened before that. So was there a particularly difficult situation where you felt like under more pressure than normal, under a sense of attack, where maybe you were feeling humiliated or feeling dirty in some way about your appearance or about something that was going on in your life? See if you can chart a pattern. As much as possible, you may need to change some of your habits, not scrolling on social media, looking at all the beautiful people who never seem to age and who look perfect all the time, because if that is a trigger for you, then that is going to continually bring up this program. Also, looking in the mirror continuously. It's really difficult to do, especially with the phone. A lot of people look at themselves in the phone dozens of times a day, hundreds of times a day even. It may be necessary to change some of those habits so that you're not continually reinforcing this sense of, I don't look good, or I don't like the way I look, or why is my body doing this to me? So starting by looking at some of those patterns and thinking of ways in which you have felt attacked, humiliated, unclean in your life may help to kind of unravel part of this program for you so that you can reduce or even eliminate the number of blemishes that you're getting. I hope this helps.